Hey guys, it's Suze. So I'm in front of the camera. I'm really not comfortable at all about this. I'm not even sure where to look. So I'm going to keep this part of the video really quick. But I wanted to talk about how we all grow our succulents differently and have different ways in different areas. And I sort of dabble in a little bit of everything. I like I love landscaping. I think it's where you can really show your creativity with rocks and different mediums and dimension and height and all that sort of good stuff. So I did attempt that in the front yard, and I'm pretty pleased with what I've got. Though I don't enjoy maintaining it. The weeds, it's just like every time we get a good downfall, here come the weeds again. Oh. So where I started was with potted succulents, and in my backyard that's where all the potted stuff happens, and I feel like you can maintain them better. You can check for bugs, you can move the pots around depending on the season, because here in Victoria, Australia, we get 4 seasons, so you sort of got to chase the light or hide from the light, that sort of thing. So I keep seeing my dodgy curtain behind me, and I'm a little embarrassed, so it just looks really shunky. But in principle it works really well, because when it's hot I roll them down and it's got a ball clip on it, and I just clip it to the frame so it creates more shade. So it's actually quite effective, but won't win any design awards. Alright, so just quickly, this is my shade house. I've got trestle tables, I've got frames, that sort of thing, little propagations, stuff that I just want to make sure they don't get too much sunlight goes in here. This is my table of flower blooms that I've cut off mainly, and a few other things, so it's a sort of a propagation sort of area. I'll go into that another time. Under my pergola I've got more succulents, also some propagation things going on there as well. Over in front of my shade house I've got my terracotta pots, and right now this area is not getting a lot of sun except for in the morning. And then these are my stock plants. I don't want to focus on them too much. They're my doggies. Say hello, Albus. Say hello. Am I a good boy? Yes. And Bo's a good boy too. Oh, that's right. You love your brother, don't you? They want some attention from me. Oh, they're so sweet together. So the real reason why I came on today is, as you can see, those pots there, the new ones, the empty ones, I want to change a few pots to just create a bit more consistency. Those of you who are starting to get to know me know I've got 2 main sections of potted succulents that I show a lot, and that is these 2 areas. I'm actually hiding from the wind because it's a bit blowy at the moment. So I started off with the blue ceramic pots, and they're probably, the succulents in there are some of my older ones and more established, and then I keep collecting more stuff and putting pots around it, and it's just really become really inconsistent. So I want to redo these pots. I've done a few, and that's them there. See that? This one here, the Cante, was in a terracotta pot because it used to be in the other section, but just didn't complement it enough. And so I repotted that one yesterday, and I'm really pleased with it. So I ran off to Bunnings, as you do, and I got a whole bunch more. That's my new section, because I used to have all my little tiny pots on the coffee table under the pergola, and that I just couldn't handle them anymore, and I just felt like I needed my coffee table back. So I got a couple of planks and a couple of bricks, and created that space up against the shed. I wanted to use one of these new pots on this here, because that's in a boring black pot, Franceso Baldi. I'm really loving the colours at the moment. The problem I'm faced with now is that it's pretty dense, and you can spot there's a lot of new growth happening underneath. and I'm concerned if I try and pull that out, I'm going to break stuff, leaves are going to pop, and I got a feeling I'll be a sad Susie Pie because there's a good chance it's not going to transplant well. So I'm contemplating heading off all the pretty larger heads and then using those and popping them as cuttings in the new pot. And then with the pot, I'll just leave the young stuff in there to grow up and just throw it somewhere else, not in a prime position sort of thing. So currently the season we are in Melbourne, Victoria I should say, Australia, is autumn, so it's heading into winter, so it's not the ideal time to chop your plants up. So that's the only thing that's making me hesitate a little bit, because this pot does look really pretty. I mean, the succulent does, not the pot, and that's one I want to change. So you remember in my last video that agavoides, I had to take out the center point because it had a lot of damage from a caterpillar or a bird or something. So here it is, here's your update. Nothing's changed, it's just sort of sitting there, so nothing really to report on that. But because I realised in hindsight that it might have been dormant, it's sort of making me lose my confidence a bit to chop up the plant in question that we've been talking about. So these are the square pots I was talking about. I found them at Bunnings on sale. They were like, I don't know, like $5 maybe each. It was really cheap. There's a Blue Alice, Briar Rose, Red Edge. That's called a True Blue. This is Hera, I think. Yeah, Hera. It's related to the Afterglow. It's labelled as a Korean hybrid or import or something like that. And that one's just got a few bibs and bobs. That's one of those bunning, Romeo wannabes. Like I said, Romeo's is very sad looking. It used to be out in the front garden and just got neglected, so just popped it there to give it a chance to recover and look a bit more plump. These leaves, they feel really not happy Jan leaves. Do you know what I mean? Alright, so I wanted to put it in the pink pot. So this one here, these are really cute. I really like the colours. What were they? I think that was about, I don't know, maybe it's about $20. Come on, Elvis. See, like my doggy companion, he's everywhere I go. So I thought for a moment it might just slide in there nicely. It's just a little bit too wide, but you can see that. Those will look really pretty in there. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to chop it up. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, it's cutting time. So this is the coffee table I was talking about that had all my little pots on it. So it turns out it's a good little spot to do some filming. This plant is going to look really bleh when I'm done. I know that. So I am hesitating slightly, but I have a vision and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful, these in that pot. So there we go, we're just going to do it. Bye bye. I think it'll be good for the stuff underneath because there's a lot of stuff happening. I'm sure it'll still grow really. Oops, sorry, hit the frame. I'm sure if I hadn't have done this, it'll still flourish, but this pot is just too ugly for how pretty these are. It's such a common succulent, but well loved because it has so many different faces. You know, it wears a lot of different costumes, and that's just my cute way of saying it changes colour a lot. And I think quite a while ago, some people used to, I mean, people probably still do, call it maybe a starburst, I think. I just call it Franceso Baldi. I've always called it that, so, you know, I have seen some posts in the past where some people get really funny when you call it a starburst or whatever it is, star something. Well, I'm really doing it, but I'll show you all of them in a minute. They look really pretty. So when I do this to a succulent, I now will consider this plant a breeder because it's ugly, but it will throw off pups and stuff that I can propagate. What else? Should I get these ones? Yep. Oh geez, there's a lot. Maybe if it was in the dead of winter it would be a bad idea. I really don't know. You know, everything that I do is a learning experience. I'm not an expert. I've said that 1,000 times. I must be doing something right because I'm going to say it. I have pretty succulents. All right, I think that will do. Let's just tip that up so you can have a better look. So look, there's a lot of young stuff there. All these limbs and stuff too. They look a bit fugly. I might cut a few more off. I don't know. But it should shoot out little bulbs on those limbs. Like, let me zoom in and show you. Yeah. You see that there? There's like a little bulb there. It still happens. I just sound concerned, and I am slightly, but I'm not. And I'm also like, I don't care. I'm doing it. All right, let's get the good pot now. Well, here we go. So I filled it up with some soil. I use propagation sand in my soil mix. I don't try and complicate it too much. I do keep it quite simple. I've top dressed it because I like that look, and it's much easier to top dress now when you're dealing with cuttings rather than trying to fill it in around the cuttings, and I'm hoping it will help give the stem something to hold on to. I did try and leave a little bit of length to the stem so it's got something to stick in, but now I'm thinking I should have cut them a bit longer. I really want to sort of jam them in there and have a real tight look about it. I'm really inspired by what the Korean succulent growers do, and that is a lot of rosettes, a lot of heads. They like to keep it simple but focus on colour, make it really ornamental looking, and so that's the kind of look I'm trying to achieve. I think in my mind, I thought I could replicate what's going on in the other pot, but now I don't think so, but I think it will still look as effective. What do you think? Maybe with this shape it might be a little trickier to shove a lot in there. I'm not too worried if the stem isn't in there because it will root, it will find the roots will find its way in time. And I'm trying to keep in mind, once I've set this, I'm not going to, oops, I bumped the frame again, frame to the camera. I'm not going to play around with it too much. So it's kind of like I want to set it right the first time, if you get my drift. Oh, that's heavy. Okay. I think the colours are a really good match. I want to really shove them all in there, but I don't know if I'm going to overcrowd them. And with time they may, you know, need to be readjusted or redone. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Oopsie, I think I'm trying to shove too many in here. Honestly, whoops. Yeah. I might have a few spare, it looks. I think I'm trying to get too much in. I think I'll be okay. I might use some of these old skewers, food skewers, for a little while, just to hold them in place a little bit till they've established on their own. Oh, I wish I had cut those stems a bit longer. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. No, not really happy with that. This is why I don't film when I'm doing arrangements, because there's a lot of backwards and forwards business. And there's a good chance I'm going to edit a lot of this out. See, I've already lost some leaves. Oh well, propagation rate. They're going to drop off anyway because I've made a cutting. I find cuttings always will shed a few bottom leaves. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Maybe this big one there. I don't know if I need that. I think I might just have to be satisfied with that many in there. I don't like touching them like that and disturbing the farina, but I don't think it's doing too much damage to them. Go in there, come on. Oh, there we go, that's what I need, the tweezers, to lift up some of these leaves. Well, I still have 4 heads left. Maybe I should have cut a couple as I went, but just decide how many I needed. Doesn't matter, I'll just put them somewhere else and propagate them. So voila, that's it. What do you think? Okay, let's have a better look. I think it looks pretty. I think it looks a lot better than the other pot. Obviously the shape that it was growing before was, in my mind, prettier, but I'm happy with that. Am I? No, not quite. I've just realised something. If I chop a few of the longer ones, what a bloody butcher I am. Let's just try something. So let's get that one, and I've deliberately cut that longer. Should I do one more? No, I'll just leave it. Right, now I've got to find a home for it. Alright, so I've put it in the spot that it was originally, and the black pot, I had it standing on top of an upside down pot to raise it up and give it height. So now this is a lot lower, and I don't think that's going to be its permanent home now. I do want to repot and use these pots to make this whole space look a lot better. So it's a bit of a working project. Neighbour's dog has decided to bark at me again, so that might be a sign it's time to stop. But I definitely want to put this, I think it's some sort of patch of area, in one of those pots. I'm thinking, since it's got that beautiful teal green look about it, maybe the purple one, or even I got two, the smaller one and the medium sized one with these, I don't know, they look like kind of waves to me. Maybe that might work. No, I'm not loving that. And I think maybe a bigger pot. Yeah, I think the purple. Yeah, and I'll give it more space because clearly it's got a lot of offshoots and stuff happening underneath. A few little propagation leaves that are taking off as well. These big reds, I wanted to change those to does red and purple work? Because I got another purple one. Anyway, decisions. I think that's enough of my yabbering for today, so I'll catch you guys later.